Hello, welcome to Know How Academy. Today, let's discuss something which is very important and which you and I feel is little bit difficult. When it comes to the practical part, this is very important that what we are going to apply, how we are going to apply, when we are going to apply, and out of all these, what is the right function we are going to use. Welcome to DAX live series. Here, before directly proceeding into the topic, let's answer a common beginner question. How should I create my first DAX measure and why should I use it? Let's imagine a real world business use case where you will be working on a dashboard of a retail store. And when I'm talking about retail, it is something about the sales and marketing. When it is about sales and marketing, obviously the point comes about the sales, how much sales I have. We will think about the cost, how much cost I have. What is the profit, how much profit I have got in my business. And how much is my profit margin. This is very important to analyze. So when we are talking about all these things, it is very important for us to understand the data. What is the data I have? Whether I have the direct columns available or should I have to go and calculate in order to meet the business requirement, in order to meet the client's requirement. This is very important to understand. So in that particular scenario, let me go and show you a small data set, okay, which is very interesting and the one which we will be working on about. So here we have the column called order ID. We have the column called order ID. Now what is this order ID? For example, you have purchased something in Amazon, you have purchased something in Flipkart, you might have purchased something in Myntra, something like this. Now when you go and purchase a product, there will be one ID for the order that you have done. When I am talking about the particular order, so let's consider I have logged in into Amazon and in Amazon I have purchased one mobile phone. So that is one particular order ID that I will be getting. And after some time you again open up your Amazon and again you go and purchase another product. Let's consider the phone cover or a charger for the mobile phone that I have purchased. I'm going to again I'm going to place an order. That particular order ID will be different when compared to the order ID of previous one. So the meaning that I would like to share here is that every order ID is different. No two order IDs will be same. No two customer IDs will be same. This is very important. Now what is the product I have? What is the product I have? That product name, on what quantity, how much quantity that I have purchased it, that is also we have to write. What is the price of that particular product? What is the cost of that particular product? And this was ordered from which region, that is also included. And this is ordered from which particular date, on which particular date, that is also given here. So now what we are going to do, I am going to get all these into my Power BI. How should I get that? I will load that data from my Excel sheet that I have. I click on that. I'll click on the sheet that I am going to select. Click on open. As soon as you click on open, please go and select the sheet name that you are about to load. Then you click on load. As soon as you click on load, you will get your data in your Power BI where you can see here the same data that we have just reviewed. So this is very important. Now, what is a DAX measure? What is a calculated column? What is a measure and what is a column? A very common interview question that will be asked, though you are a beginner, though you are a fresher, or though you have just got trained under Power BI. Let me give you a practical example. Always whenever a question is asked in interview, don't give them the definition, because the opposite guy also knows what exactly it is. They want you to tell how are you going to explain them practically if you have worked. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. I have 7 columns, which are the columns that I have got it the time when I have loaded my data, the original columns. Now, if you just look into here, in this particular table, I have 7 columns. Apart from these 7 columns, if I am going to add any other column, that will be added on here. So whenever we are working on a DAX function, we generally work on by using 4 calculations, which is new measure, quick measure, new column, new table. And let me walk through all these one by one. New table. What is new table? When you are adding a new table to the existing table is a new table. So for example, I have only one table now, which is sheet 1. If I click on new table, another table will be added to this particular sheet 1 in my particular Power BI report. As you can see, the table. A new table, what it will do? It will go and add another particular table to your report. If you do not want it, you can remove it. Very simple. Now, let me come back here to the column. What is a new column? What is a new column? When I click on this new column, then into the 7 columns, another column will be added. If I add another column, then another column will be added. This is the problem. The problem is that when you are going to add one column, another column to the table, then you are increasing the size of the data set, which is indirectly indicating or slowing down your performance of the report. When you are adding more than one particular column, then obviously as the size increases, you are increasing the size of the data set, and this particular column will go and affect your performance. So that's where we go and use the measures. Measures use very less memory. They are stored inside the variable. They are not physically seen. But again, having unwanted measures also affects the performance of a report. That is also we have to consider. Okay, so that is new measure and a new column. Now, and quick measure, if I talk about quick measure. So what Power BI will do? Power BI has already some ready-made calculations which are done ready for you. Let me give you a simple example. You go to a motel or a hotel, you go to KFC, you go to Walmart, you go to Domino's. There are some food items which are readily available. You have to just select what you want and the order is ready in front of you and the food is ready in front of you. In the same way, the quick measure is nothing but Power BI has already some calculations which are kept ready for you. Whichever you want, you can go and choose it. So this is quick measure. Quick measure. In the name itself, we have quick measure. Alright. So now let's go and work on these different parts of new measure. Let's create our first DAX new measure where I would like to calculate my total sales. Do I have a sales column? Please look towards the table. Do I have a sales column? I do not have a sales column. I have to find it out. So let me explain you two ways. One, I am going to explain you the column level aggregation, and another one I'm going to explain you is the row level aggregation. Okay, so now what I'm trying to do, I have to calculate total sales. In order to calculate total sales, I should use the DAX function called SUM. So in order to use SUM, you should have sales column, but that sales column is not there. So in that scenario, we will choose new column and let's go and calculate sales first. Sales equal to, I have the column called price, which I am multiplying it with quantity. I'll get the sales column. I have got it. Now it is easy for me to go and calculate the measure. So always a new measure is used for aggregations. Okay. So now coming back, I will use new measure and I want to calculate what is my total sales equal to total sales. SUM is a DAX function that I am going to consider, and the column name is sales, which we have calculated just now, the sales column. Okay. Now if I click on enter, I'm getting the total sales. So let us go and check what is the value in the KPI card. I'll go here. Okay, I'll take a card chart, and here I am going to get the total sales, where my total sales is 1.70. My total sales is 1.70k. Okay, so now how many steps are involved in order to get this value? First we have calculated sales, then we have selected the new measure, then we have used a SUM function, then we got 1.70k. So there are 3 steps which are involved in order to get this value. Now what I am doing, I want to make it as simpler as that. In only one DAX function I have to get this answer. That's where your row level aggregation will come, that is called as X functions in Power BI. So now let me go and write a new measure here, a new measure. Okay, let me remove it. There are unnecessary measures which are added by mistake. Okay, let me take a new measure here, and what I'm doing, I'm calculating total sales in only one particular expression. I'm using the function called SUMX. What is my table name? Sheet 1, comma. What is the expression that I have used in order to calculate sales? That I have to select it, which is price multiply by quantity. That's it, very simple. I have given my table name and I have written my expression price multiplying by quantity. So what it will do, it will iterate each row. It will multiply price into quantity. It is same as how you have done. The same answer we are going to get it. I'll take a card chart. I'll calculate this total sales 1.70. Okay. So using row level aggregation also helps you with your performance of the report. All right. So now in the same way, if I want to calculate total cost, so as we already have a cost column, rather than going with sum of cost, let's go and do in this format. So I'll go here, I'll take a new measure and I will calculate what is my total cost. What is my total cost? SUMX of table name is sheet 1, comma. I have the cost column which I want to multiply it with the quantity column. So what I'm doing, I'm finding out my total cost. So if I come here, I'll take a card and I will show the total cost. It's 1070. It's very easy, no need to worry all about. Using X functions will give you the result in one particular expression itself. Okay, now I have total sales, I have total cost. I want to calculate what is my profit. What is my profit? Can anyone please reply me in the comment how to calculate profit and what is the formula of it? Okay, so here what we are going to do, we are going to calculate profit. That's where I am writing new measure. I'll come to the table view. I'll remove this unnecessary measures which are being created. I'll come to new measure and I'll calculate profit. Profit equal to the total sales that I have. I am subtracting it with the total cost. That's where my profit will come. So if you want to check the profit, you please select the card and you can go and find out the profit, which is 632.50. Sales minus cost. Okay, so we have got total sales, we have got total cost, we have got total profit. We have got profit. Now if we want to find what is the profit margin, so before that I would like to show you with the table chart here. In this table chart, let's take the product, let's take the total sales, total cost, what is the profit. Now I'm going and calculating the profit margin. I want to calculate the margin here. So in order to do that, what I'm doing here, I'll go and calculate the profit margin. That's where I am using the DAX function called divide. I have to choose the numerator and the denominator. Numerator is profit which I have got. Denominator is what? Denominator is something which is called as total sales. So I'll get profit margin and I will format it in a percentage because profit margins will generally denote it with the percentages. So I'll get the profit margin here. You can see this. Okay, how much profit margin we have, for each of the products that we have in our particular data. What generally people will do when I'm writing the function as divide, people try to go with the symbol called divide, profit by total sales. Rather than going with that by, it is easier, it is helpful to go with divide. Okay, that's a easy and the simple thing that we can do, and that's the best way to go with it. Now let me even go and show how much sales I have got per order. So if you see here in the data set, we have the order ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for these 5 orders, how much sales we have got per order if you want to see. So for that also we have a DAX function. That's where we go and choose new measure here. So in this new measure, I am writing the DAX function. So let me go and write sales per order, which is my measure name, equal to, first let me select my total sales, which I want to divide it by counting the order ID. The reason that I am using the count word more than one time, I am not using the count function, I am using distinct count function. Now what is this distinct count? It will count the unique value. So let me give an example. If ID number 1 is repeated 3 times, it will consider only 1 time. It will not consider the duplicate values. It will not consider the repeated values. So if I click on enter, we will get sales per order. Okay, how much sales we have got per order, that we will get it. All right. So these different kinds of DAX functions that we have used, or the general one which will be frequently being used in any of the organizations or any project or any data you go and work upon. If you want to make it a little bit interactive, if you want to make it a bit interactive, we can go and use Slicer. Slicer is the type of filters that you have in Power BI, which can be used from anywhere, and there is no need of Power BI desktop to use it. If it is being shared with your in your mobile phone, then also you can go and use it. Okay, so now, but the filters that you have it here, these are used by developers, because in order to use these filters we need to install Power BI desktop and do this in the system, right? But that is not the scene here in Slicer, because it also filters the data but in an interactive way. So let me show you. I'll go and choose the region. Then I have three regions here: north, south and west. If I click on north, it will show me only the north information from every different visual. South, west, you can see that every particular visual is interacting. Every particular visual is interacting. So that is very much important whenever we are talking about the slicers. If your slicer is not interacting with your visual, it means that there is an issue with the connectivity. It means that there is an issue with the connectivity that you have to look into it. When I am talking about connectivity, in the modeling, in the model view, we have to go and create the cardinality when we have more than one table. So let's consider you have sheet 1 and you have another table called date. You have to match the both. If your cardinality, if your relationship is not active, if your relationship is not appropriate, if your relationship is not right, then your values will also be wrong, whatever the DAX function you might use it. There are many such cases. Though you use the DAX function, you will get the answer blank. So these are the things that you have to understand whenever we are trying to work on Power BI. That's very important. And this also plays a very important role in any project you are working. Okay, so if I would like to even show, we can use multiple visuals as well. Okay, so I'll go here, I'll take the pie chart, I'm taking region, and how much profit percentage we have per region, that also we can show it. See? If I click on south, only the south information, west, west, north, north. So my particular visual, my particular data is right and is interacting well. This is very important. So in the DAX, there are 1200 plus DAX functions we have in Power BI. So whenever I talk about the DAX with everyone, people start getting afraid of. So no, DAX is something which can be used, okay, in order to get the calculated result with the type of data, with the client requirements that you have. Apart from these, you should make a note of one important thing. We are not using all 1200 plus DAX functions in any particular project. Only those which are required, we are going to use those DAX functions. All of them, we have seen few which we generally use in a day by day. Now the interesting point is that, my dear viewers, here in this live session, you have learned how to load the data from Excel into Power BI. You have learned how we have to use the quick measure, new column, new table. What is the difference between new measure and new column? How to use SUMX, DISTINCTCOUNT, how we have to use divide DAX function, how we have to find profit margin, how we have to find sales per order, how we have to use a slicer, what is the use of a slicer, what is the how we have to create this pie chart. So all these or it might be the basic way of introducing you with the DAX functions, but in our sequence of this live series, you will understand a lot of different concepts. You will understand a lot of different scenarios. We will understand with real world practical cases, real world challenges, real world practical problems that every developer face, when they are working in an organization, slowly in our upcoming DAX live sessions. Okay, that's the next thing that we are going to do, so that you can just stay connected with us. The data set of this particular video, you can able to download it from the link that we are going to share it in the description once this live is getting finished, or later on. You can even go and practice it. You can build a client ready financial dashboards, retail sales dashboards, HR attrition dashboards, profit and loss dashboards. There are many such things that you can work on Power BI. Exploring DAX is very important. If I would like to give you reference, you can go to Google and search DAX functions in Power BI. You can able to download it, where you can see all those 1200 plus DAX functions, whatever we have. You have a syntax, you have an example, you have an output, you have everything in that. Taking the reference, working on it, that makes you perfect on DAX functions. You can even practice these DAX functions which we have discussed today, so that you will be perfect when we listen to our next live series of DAX the next week. So that we can connect with you every week. We can discuss each other. We can learn many more new things. We can learn new DAX functions. Let's make it interactive. So thank you for choosing Know How Academy as your source for IT knowledge. We are always here to help you to navigate the tech world. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. It's been a pleasure sharing this information with you. Stay curious and keep learning.